new term that I want to begin to use in replace of or in addition to heart led business, soul led business, purpose led business, and that is the fifth dimensional business. I've been doing a lot of my little deep dive lately has been into the world of dimensions. And let me tell you what my understanding is at this point as I hear and learn more and I'm aware more. Um, it becomes a deeper knowing, and I'll have um, myself will have better words, but right now I'm going to just kind of download into what it is for me. So, third dimensional living is what we're all culturally conditioned to believe is the only way that we live here on Earth. When we are in this, it's the flesh body, but more importantly, it's the um, it's the brain. It's our computer system that is there to support our survival. And as we become more aware of what I'm going to call truth, more awareness of more that there is, um, then it is less and less necessary to be used in a certain way. And I think AI is our proof of that, in that what our brains have been doing is basically an AI situation of gathering all the information that I input and creating, I heard this term the other day, an architecture of a survival loop so that I will stay alive based on the program that says if I've lived through it before, it is safe. And if I, however, I did, whatever I felt, whatever actions I took, and I survived, that's our standard is survive, then I can do that again. So sometimes that's very supportive if we are in an emotionally mature state when something happens and we take action from there. If we have support around us, if all the pieces are set up conditionally to support a um, I'm just going to call it, I'll just use healthy for lack of a better word here, response, then, and I have a high emotion with it, then, and maybe it happens over and over, then that's what I will do. And so there are people that just don't have problems with certain things because they have a loop, a survival loop that has a way higher standard to it because that was their experience. So we see a condition, our brain, as it translates the condition, sees what is familiar first. Okay. And then anything not familiar, it will shove it into a folder of something that it feels is like. If we're in an experience that's unlike anything, you'll hear the quietness. Like it doesn't have a place to put it. And it's like, let's just wait and see what happens. But otherwise, the condition occurs, you hear it, you see it, you smell it, you taste it, you feel it, and immediately your brain puts it into those, finds a file folder that's similar, and then shoots the hormones and chemicals into your body that are aligned with that folder that will then give you the emotion so that then you know what to feel and will add corresponding thoughts. Okay. So as these happen, we have an experience. Our perception of it creates thoughts. Those thoughts then are categorized into that folder of when this happens, this is what we think. And the more you think those thoughts, the more it becomes a belief. The more it is a belief, your brain targets it as a knowing. And in that case, it's really hard to shift and do anything differently or feel anything differently when any condition like that comes up. And sometimes that's awesome. If it's something that supports you, that's really a very helpful thing. The issue is that in third dimensional world that, we call it 3D. It's actually a fourth dimension because time is on there, but let's just call it our world, time, space, reality world, um, has a, um there's a dichotomy there. There is a dual reality. There is a fearful one, and then there is a loving one. There's one that is lack, and there's one that is abundance. There's one that is appreciation, and one that is fear. And so when we've got these, if you can think of it as two file cabinets, one is the love, appreciation, abundance file cabinet, and the other one is a lack, scarcity, fear, you know, duality one, bad, you know, kind of a cabinet. And in the fear cabinet are all the emotions and actions that are related to that fearful thought of something bad is going to happen. I'm afraid, and this is not well. All is not well. Something's wrong. And so that's where judgment and comparison and competition and right and wrong and black and white and um, uh, those types of judgments um, live in that cabinet. And the other one, and those are the emotions bored to helpless, right? And in the other cabinet is anything that is of love, compassion, um, freedom, abundance, really a unity, uniqueness, appreciated uniqueness, unity, those kind of things. And not just partial unity, complete unity. Um, those are the emotions of calm and content all the way up to the blissed out, ecstasy. Okay. So as we've got these two cabinets in our 3D world, both cabinets exist. It's very clear, pretty much in whatever culture you live in, which thing goes in which cabinet. And then you go to a new culture and then you're like, oh no. And that's why we judge because our brain thinks we're going to die if we do something different. So when you're doing a business from a 3D world, it's very this fear-based one is very codependent, it's very attached to outcome. It is all the kind of fear-based processes are put into place. Um, uh, the data that you collect says whether you were good or bad, whether you were successful or a failure. There's kind of not much in between. We also have, the creation and inspiration and all of those pieces as well. So they're always at odds, and our brain is trying to guide you to what you've done before. So in essence, you just are in a loop and you just repeat your actions, you repeat the feelings. Um, and then at some point, something is said or happens, and you have a aha, something's not what I thought it was. That's your fourth dimensional bridge. You get on the aha, oh my goodness, that's not what I thought it was. There's some truth about that cabinet, that fear cabinet, that some belief in the cabinet. It could be, oh, maybe you thought you were ugly your entire life, and someone actually voices that you're beautiful, and you can really see that they think that, and you have this aha, maybe, oh my goodness, maybe this folder was incorrect. That's your fourth dimension. It's where healing, it's where this aha resonance with love, abundance, where fear was, um, comes into play. Maybe we don't have to do it like that. Maybe I don't have to do this. This is, you know, And that, of course, in society begins to fight against whatever culturally is set in that cabinet from the time you're very young. But the fourth dimension is where you begin your healing, you're doing your personal development work, you're doing your spiritual work. And so you'll be in third, and then you have an aha and you get in this fourth. And then if you do that work and if you do have the new love reality, you pop into fifth, and you're that moment is this, oh, everything's okay. All is well all the time. This is not what I thought it was. It now is this. And so you pop into that little fifth dimensional piece. And in there, your love cabinet exists, and at an even higher level, like even higher emotion or even higher clarity on the calm. There's even more, there's an expansion of the clarity in there. So that's kind of a basic of it. And so we don't want to stay on the bridge, right? We want to get on over into fifth dimension. Why? Because in fifth dimensional reality, there's no competition, there's no comparison, there's no judgment, there's compassion doesn't even need to kind of be there, because there's a, if you had no judgment on anyone, everything would, you know, everyone doing what they're doing is just is. This is where the loving what is it is what it is. It just is. And is also this space of synchronicities. It is a world of constant synchronicity. It is a world of what we call coincidence, that is really where now there's no resistance. So let's go back and talk a little bit about the Abraham Hicks view, the law of manifestation, the law of attraction view of how this works. So, step one is that you have a condition, and in that, you know what you want, you know what you don't want. And so, in that, you release a vision of what you do want, right? Well, that comes to you no matter what dimension you're in. It comes to you through the path of the least resistance you have to receiving it. That's great news. I don't have to have a path a certain distance wide to get some of it. I just got to have a little crack in there to allow it in some way. Well, that fear cabinet is the resistance, right? Even in your love cabinet can be a little bit of beliefs and resistance that on that fourth dimension can get release more resistance and be there. When you're actually over in fifth dimension, there the knowing of it is the knowing of that what I have visual my vision of what I've created energetically um is available to me immediately if I have no resistance, right? So we have the, say what you want, know what you want, be clear, your clarity and your certainty. Okay. And clarity and certainty kind of move you across the bridge a little bit from any of those thoughts that you had that weren't certain and clear. And then you act in that clarity and certainty, removing any resistance, fourth dimension, removing that resistance that you see that has anything against, any doubt at all that what you said you wanted would be your reality, right? And as you clean that up, then it comes into you the a little bit, and then as you clean the resistance, there's more and more and more. So your job becomes know what you want and remove the resistance. And fourth dimension is that remove the resistant, know you what you want. The condition of the fear cabinet can sometimes let you know what you don't want. So now you know what you do want, right? So third dimensional is kind of our space where we can create. You can create in fourth and fifth, and of course, further up, but you can still create because you are seeing a reality in front of you, right? You created that. And that got to you through the path of the least resistance you had. And sometimes you did a little, what we'll call work, around it, right? You did a little bit of um, um, healing. You did a little bit of resistance removing. And then in that fifth dimension is your experience of it. I'll call it cleaned out, free of fear um, experience of what you wanted. And it's this overlying thing. I just one of my greatest gifts from my mother is that when she went through her own personal development, really understood and embodied this or something better. And I watched her do that and I practiced it. And that is the feeling that is in your fifth dimension. The what is that's in front of you, there's no judgment on it. There's no judgment on it, right? It is what it is, and it is. It just is. It's not it is and it's okay. It just is. And it's this or something better. And when I remove the resistance, is something better can drop in. I might know what that is, and it might be something I haven't even thought of, right? And that is our connection to spirit, source, all that is, God, other dimensions, whatever else is not readily available to us as we see and translate in a third dimensional fear-based world. You begin to have clearer messages. This is the downloaded clearer messages. The more resistance you remove, you have more ahas, you end up on the fourth dimension. And then you have these downloads in fifth that are so clean and clear and kind of like you don't even know where that came from because it certainly wasn't from your brain, right? And the awesome news is when you get those downloads, they do become a part of your brain. So it will hold that and it will begin to support you in it. So that being said, uh, logically in our brains, we can see how it would behoove us to, if we're feeling and seeing fear, to be able to um, investigate investigate it and look at the data around it that we put in there and begin to adjust that data. And that's your fourth dimensional work, right? And then get over and live in that fifth dimension. So when we talk about this, I want to be talking about this more and more. A fifth dimensional business does have outcomes that we vision that we want. And when we vision those, it's like that's all you can get from this brain here. And you might have something pop in that you hadn't thought of, but it's oh, I created it. Now you're over here, and that vision becomes something you created and you're inspired about, and you intuitively get a hit. Now you have this bigger picture of something that you hadn't seen before, something that had never come in before. And that creation now is done. It is done. It's done. It is. And so it is. And so in a fifth dimensional, would be, and so it is. And what action do I want to take knowing that it is? Now, what do I want to be doing? And now our actions are from love, from abundance, and we're in here and synchronicities are happening. So we are doing less. It is a space, fifth dimension is a space where time is very different than it is in third. And even in fourth. In fourth, time almost suspends as you do your work, right? You can feel the suspension of it. And in fifth, it's inconsequential. It doesn't matter because something that used to take a certain amount of time, that's not true anymore. And so for the abundance, the time travel ability, the what you have to do, the what you want to do, more of what I want to do, none of what I have to do, more of what I want to do, enjoying pieces. And as you're in fifth, when you pop back into third, it's a little jolting and therefore it's a little more in your face what's the next work to do to get back over in there and stay there. And so this is about expanding our ability to use what we've done in the fourth to expand even more without more work, just to kind of more realization, to use our heart brain, our self, our spirit brain, our soul brain instead of our body brain, right? The body brain now is your AI. So it is the one that does things on automatic so that you don't have to go through a process. So when you have something how you want it, when it gives you what you want, you can allow the brain to then run that loop of whatever this is and until you want better from that. And there's so much more to this. Even as I'm saying it, I'm hearing, yeah, you can start there. You know, like, yeah, that's a good starting place on this because I've also recently listened to and been keep being shown the space of the nothingness as the beginning point of the everything. And I'm not quite sure how it all, whew, I'm getting a weird lightheaded feeling on this one. That's really weird. My body just got nauseous and it's having a reaction. Wow. Okay. In this, all the loops go away. And it's a whole other thing that we're moving towards, right? All that's been happening celestially has been there to support our rapid fourth dimensional release, rapid fifth dimensional creation, visioning, creation. As we leave space, where we release something, throw it off the bridge, and now we have space moving back into fifth dimension to create that. I'm still like, I still have holes in my understanding of all of it, but that's okay. We will move forward. I do have a knowing about what it is that I'm wanting and how it relates to what I've been saying for years. So, mm, I've kind of slowed down on the growth driver system training, which, oh, my body's just having a real, this is awesome, which is the foundational pieces for your awareness in third, your fourth dimensional work, and your expansion in fifth. And so that put together with the business structure that if we are in business, we are selling a product or service to another person or entity in exchange for our current currency, whatever that currency is. Um, and with that, there are foundational pieces of the actions that take. Now, sometimes they're like immediate. Someone says, "Hey, do you know someone that does da 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 and has da da da?" And it's you, and you're like, "Oh yeah." Or they go through and they scroll and they're like, "That's what I wanted," and they jump in and but there's got to be an awareness that your business, your company is the one that supplies the product or service that that person is wanting. There has to be an awareness happen at some point. That's marketing. And the branding of it is the awareness of the product and service and whether that person, it's something that person wants. And then as they see that and they get that information, they then convert to buying and then you deliver. There's nothing that's not that, even if it's in a fifth dimensional space. If there is a product or service that you're giving to someone and you are going to receive an exchange of some currency for that, okay? That's what we call business. Um, So those foundational pieces are not in place. Um, I'm not sure that I've ever even had a client that had them all in place. I may have had 1 or 2 that have them all in place. And so I am feeling remiss in my um, insistence that within my containers, those 2 pieces, your personal spiritual development based on growth driver system pieces and the foundational growth and development of your business on those foundational pieces are required. I'm answering questions from a space where there's holes in both of those, right? I'm helping in a space from, well, I want to do this and how do I do this? And I give the answer, but yet you're putting that back into foundations that have holes in them. And I feel like I am back at a square one that I was at January of 2021 when I realized that my vision of only private clients was not going to be helpful to the clients or to myself without a common vocabulary and structure of what it is that I keep saying over and over again, and the pieces I'm wanting over and over again. And so that's where VIP group was born. All the private clients went into that. And then I let some people just in that. And in there, we did growth driver system, but I did not do business structure. And then that's when those years were the years that my precious friend and fellow coach Josie and I created the beginning structure of Quick Start Business School. And so then I had it available. Some have used it off and on, but they'll jump in at where they're having a problem rather than getting it all set up and then coming back and looking to see if there's a problem, because if there's a problem in sales, then there's most likely a problem somewhere in the setup. There's definitely a problem in the marketing, and there's definitely an issue in the conversion piece. And then there may absolutely be something in the delivery of it as well. And so yesterday, I got a very clear vision of a next that includes the shifts that we've made. I absolutely love one-on-one clients and can't really imagine my life without that as a projector, that recognition and invitation to me in that space. I learned so much, and I am helping at the highest level. Uh, Fast Track Business School, which I've created, the emphasis in there is on these 2 pieces. I didn't even have growth driver in it, which I will be adjusting. That's gonna be a shift. But the laser coaching. So I'm still one-on-one in a conversation in the community, or whether it's during a call, I'm still getting my one-on-one that I feel is where my highest oracle work is done. That's the unique piece for that person. And then from that, others hear what they need to hear out of it that help them. So the structure now with the uh, um, is the Business Success Accelerator is made up of all my private clients, and that is in Business Success Accelerator private. There is an upper concierge level where you have more private with me. But that's still Business Success Accelerator, where we do have time, even as a group for now, to and I may not be doing these biweekly. I may do like a quarterly. I've got to shift that a bit. So that it serves better. Um, and in place of those calls, what is coming is an update, a up level of Quick Start Business School, where I will be creating Fast Track Business School from Quick Start. And so starting in September, I will be doing a year-long program specifically, designed for, me to be able to create this course, but also for someone to go through the course with me as I'm doing this. Um, I'm, not sure. I've met even someone that's, like I said, that's got all the pieces. So, I know there are businesses, that do. I even know in some that I've been a part of, I see where the holes were in there. So even in that piece, there's room. Um, and in Fast Track Business School, instead of just the mindset ones where we did the quick little explanation and that, I will then, be putting in growth driver system. And so, once a month, that will be 12 of those. So once a month, that will be a training with a business piece. I may even divide it into 2 parts of that with 2 pieces, so we can practice more. But that's going to be happening. I'm still got Fast Track Business Community that people can come in and out of, my business success accelerator pieces, currently as they are. Um, I my mm, I'm stumbling over that as I say this to you, is that, the requirement for women wanting to grow their business is that they are fundamentally set up, that they have a fundamental, um, understanding and foundation, a fundamental foundation in both their business foundation and their what I'll call your CEO foundation. Okay. In the foundation of being a CEO, a business owner. Okay. So those two, that's growth driver system and what was Quick Start. I'm going to be updating Quick Start to some things that I know need to be in there. And then the growth driver is in there for the CEO. And it does not serve my clients for me to be slapping band-aids on their businesses. And so what I am, gonna be doing with current clients is that they are automatically a part of that, of that year-long setup, and I will be looking at those pieces in their businesses and putting that together and being sure that those are and then kind of assessment on where they are on the ability to know what to do for their own CEO mindset, and personal development of that to move them and their business into fifth dimension. And fifth dimension does not mean there isn't foundation. Fifth dimension means that foundation is still the masculine energy that supports. It's just more time for the feminine energy of creation and enjoyment and, those pieces. And the structure from that, then the fifth dimensional masculine structure gets to be setting up structure that's even more supportive of more growth. Because to be ready for the growth that you are asking for, the business has to be the container has to be able to hold it. To be ready for the growth you're asking for, your container needs to be able to expand enough to hold it without the fear file cabinet shutting you down and sending you back. So, that is where we're headed. I am clear, certain. I still can feel the fear cabinet opening on it. And I don't care because I'm gonna let it go. We've been doing a lot of songs lately. Let it go. I'm doing it. This is what I'm doing no matter what is coming up, and I will do my work and I will show you me doing my work as I usually do. I will show you me setting up my foundations as I usually do. and, I will walk my walk and talk my talk, and, I am just very excited about who else is hearing that calling to having a business that supports them, but they really enjoy and love and do no matter what the business is. They're enjoying what they're doing and how they're creating. Um, and I am a little bit still in a grieving process of who this will not include, um, that I wanted to fix and help and all that kind of thing. And that is not what this is about. It is about um, true support in a way that is really acknowledging your freedom and your sovereignty, um, and my service to you. And that was a word I used to have a problem with because I used to overgive. My service was one of obligation and responsibility. It was one of dimming my light. It was one of being beholden to, afraid that I wouldn't survive without it. And now, my heart is full. As I look at this way of service, I feel my sovereignty and my freedom in it. Um, I know that I know that I know it is done.